In today's video, we're taking a look at the Twilight Masquerade format, getting in some early gameplay. Let me know any decks you want to see in the comments below. So far, we've built Blissey, Dragapult, Greninja. We've updated some stuff like Lugia, Gardevoir, Charizard. So that'll all be coming to the channel at some point. In this one though, it's Greninja versus Dragapult. Let me know who you think is going to win in the comments below. Let's take a quick look at the decks, then get into this one. Just to go over it briefly, in first we've got Greninja here. Paired with Froslass from the same set, Froslass dropping damage counters on any Pokemon with abilities in play, including your own, other than obviously Froslass. This deck only has the Froslass. There is the Rotom, the Blood Moon, so there's a few cases where you could drop some on your own, but mainly you're aiming for your opponent. You're aiming for those Charizards, those Bibarels, Manaphy's, all of those Pokemon they have to get down. Especially Manaphy, because you do need it down to protect yourself against Greninja, as it can use its rapid flow or whatever it's called now. It's a very similar attack. It's 120, so very powerful to spread damage. Paired with Froslass, nothing too crazy otherwise. It does have a 170 attack for 1 water, and then it can find any card it wants. So very powerful anyway, just swinging 2-shot into stuff. It's got the option with a Devo to play around with that and drop some damage. It's going to be very interesting to see how Greninja does. Obviously, fighting Pokemon haven't been that powerful for a while now. Maybe this could be the break they need. Over to Dragapult then, and in this one we are focusing on the Xatu. We've got the 4-4-3, so we do need those Dracoloaks in play. We are normally getting them in play via the Evo. We do, however, run the one of Lance, just so we can find those Dragapult or Dracoloaks, depending what we need when we need it. It's also not terrible if you get it first turn. You can Lance, set up your 3 Dreepy, and you're laughing. Probably most of the time, if you are going to use it first, you're going to grab a 2 Dreepy and a Dracoloak, something like that. There's a lot of uses on a lot of different turns. Later in the game, you can just find your Dragapults to attack with. I do like the one of. In this, we are testing out the Scoop Up Cyclone. I'm currently on the Unfair stamp just for how slow this deck is, how behind it goes. I think it's quite nice. Just to level things out with the Unfair stamp and then start swinging for some knockouts with Dragapult. Putting your opponent down to 2 cards from a item is absolutely insane. And you get to draw a new hand yourself, so potentially you could either Arven or Iono, see some new cards, and then reset stamp them. It's an absolutely devastating card. Like I say, Scoop Up Cyclone is nice, so it's what we're using in this one. Able to reuse the Dragapult. We do need the Xatu set up to reuse it, obviously, as that's our only way to accelerate some energy. We are testing out the EXP share for that reason, because at times it can feel very rough not having energy in play. Current list is also running a 2nd Earthen Vessel, and we have dropped one of the stadiums. But that is both lists. Let's get into the match. So it is going to be a mulligan for the Greninja side here, and they are going to start us off. The Irida coming from that mulligan, and we are going to see a Froakie come down instantly. Energy attached, and it is passed to Dragapult. Not much else going on. Let's see if Dragapult can get set up here. We do see the Arven come down, so we are going to see at least a Buddy Poff in here, and potentially even could go TM Evo, and we could see some Dracoloaks in play the first turn. Just searching through deck here, so quick deck check, just make sure everything's in there, make sure all the pieces are in there, and hopefully we do see some Dreepy come down here. So it does look like the Poffin is going to be a definite here. It's just going to be what tool you want to grab with that. Potentially you could grab, like I said, the Evo, or you could go for something else. Just to thin the deck out, even if you don't need anything currently, and it is going to be the Forest Seal Stone. Potentially Evo not in deck, or just not needed currently. The Buddy Poffin's going to come down anyway, and we are going to see, I would assume 2 Dreepy, potentially could go Dreepy Natu, but I think, yeah, you do want to get as many Dreepy down as possible here, and start playing the game. Obviously able to go into Dracoloak the following turn, able to draw some cards via, it's going to depend what the translation is, but it's currently Reconnaissance Raid. I think it's going to be something closer to, I think something like Surveillance Recon or something like that. In this one, we're just going to call it Recon, I think is the easiest way. And it is going to be Irida coming down on the side of Greninja here. Possibly searching out a Buddy Poffin and a maybe Greninja to draw some cards, depending what they play here. Depends what's in hand, on obviously, because they could get an attack off this turn, but they would need quite a lot. And we are going to see, okay, we are going to see a Snorunt and Buddy Poffin hit the field, so it's going to be more Froakie in play, more Snorunt in play, meaning those Froslass are going to absolutely shred the Dracoloaks. So this could be interesting here. That's 3 down already, potentially leading to 3 Froslass in the following turn. Nothing else being decided here. Not sure. Okay, so it is going to be a pass afterwards. And we do see a Xatu off the top there, meaning if there's a Psychic in hand, potentially could see a Dracloak attack this turn, or Dragapult more likely. Dracloak does come down though, the Xatu comes down. And potentially we're going to see some more cards here. Using that Recon just to have a look at the top. Put one in hand, put one at the bottom. Very similar to the airmail we used to have. And we're just going to see an Iono first. Not happy with our hand there, not much else to play down. And maybe should have grabbed like a Devo or something instead of the Forest Seal Stone, as it now sits at the bottom of the deck. We do see a fire in hand, so at least an attach for turn. Fresh Dreepy coming down, so that's 3 in play now. And we are going to see the Recon looking at the top 2 cards here. Reorganising Snowrunts on either side, setting up that Froslass play. That's the only scary thing about the Iono. Potentially they could have had the Froslass in hand, so it kind of makes sense. The fact they set up so many probably makes you think they're definitely going to have one. So we do see Xatu being used. So we could see an attack here. Xatu getting a Psychic Energy in play. And potentially we could see a Fire come down. As we know it's in hand. It's going to be a Buddy Puff in here. Getting down some more Pokemon. I guess another Dreepy, another Natu. I think we would probably want to see Manaphy here as the first choice. So obviously Greninja just could absolutely wipe the bench otherwise. If Manaphy is prized, we could see a very difficult match here for the side of Dragapult. But it does look like Manaphy's coming down. We see a Natu as well, just in case the one in the active is knocked out. Obviously, Xatu has abilities, Dracloak has abilities. So the longer they stay these stage 1 Pokemon, the more difficult it is going to be for the Dragapult player. We just need a way to retreat the Xatu, I think. Yeah, so we can actually get a Dragapult into play, which might be worth doing just to protect, depending on what we have in hand, to protect the Dracloak from taking any damage. It makes it a bit safer. Means it can't be bossed up and knocked out as well. We are just going to see another Dracloak though. Maybe not having a way to retreat, and not really worth losing the draw support of the Dracloak for the following turn. And it is going to be another Recon here, looking at the top 2 cards. What do we see? We see Enhanced Hammer and I think Rotom. Obviously, Enhanced Hammer could be good in this match. Obviously, there is the DTEs for the Greninja, but nothing in play currently. If we see one come down, the Enhanced Hammer could come into play. But otherwise, I think it's going to be a pass here, and it's going to be very much in Greninja's favour. Dragapult within the turn 2 attack here, or even like an Evo play or anything. So yeah, it could be very difficult to claw back here. I think the current list is using the Scoop Up Cyclone as well, which yeah, it never really came up in play, and it was prized. I think we played 4 games in total on the day, and I think it was prized 2 or 3 out of the 4, so we never really had a chance to use it. We do see another Froakie coming down. We see an attach. We see an evolve. At least one Froslass in play. That's going to be ticking some damage over on the Dragapult side. Nothing really to worry about. So we are going to see... I think that's another Froslass and a Rare Candy here. So we are going to see Greninja in play. Obviously the retreat on the Snowrun in the active. So we're going to see a knockout into Xatu, meaning the Greninja player can grab any card they want, which is going to be a massive swing in this matchup. We are going to have to see an Iono now. And potentially you want to save those Ionos playing into the Greninja, as they can just change stuff and choose any card they want. It's such a powerful ability. We do see the Greninja come down then, and we see a second Froslass hit the field. So that's going to be 2 damage to everything with an ability. Xatu is knocked out, so it's saved from the damage at least. But we are going to see 2 to each Dracloak and the Manaphy here. Not 1. Hopefully I get... There we go. 2 to the Manaphy as well. This is going to be interesting. Not really sure where they go from here. We are going to see the Dracloak with a Fire Energy come into the active. I guess if this one retreats... Oh, second guessing themselves here. I guess if that one retreats, so you do have the Mela to set up the other Pokemon. Oh, so we were just waiting for the card and prize to be taken, and it is going to be Dracloak in the active here. Let's have a look then. We do see Buddy Poffin in hand, potentially to grab another Dreepy. I think that's the only Pokemon you really have to grab at this point. Just get that deck shuffled up and might potentially see some more recons here. Maybe seeing a card before that they kind of want here. We are going to see the attachment, so... And it's an Iono down to 5 on the side of Greninja and a fresh 6 for Dragapult. Maybe, obviously not seeing an EX so far. Fairly comfortable with the Iono searching for something here. Oh, we did see the Evolve before the Recon though. I don't know if they're going to catch that. That is unfortunate. So yeah, no reason not to use the Recon there if you're going to Evolve anyway. Potentially can set up some knockouts in return or just take a quick knockout into like a Froakie here. It depends if you want to go after the Froslass. I think you're probably... Okay, so we do see the first Recon. Probably going to realise now we've missed the opportunity of the second. We have played this a little bit. But these are some of our very first games. So obviously stuff like this is going to happen. It is going to be 200 swung into Greninja. And we're just going to take a knockout on a Froakie. I think that makes sense. Just thin out the amount of attackers. We do see a Frogadier come down now. I think that was off the top there, which is quite nice. It just protects a knockout for the following turn. And obviously stuff keeps ticking between turns. So we're going to see some more damage on the Manaphy, some more damage on the Dracloak. Potentially could see some big prize turns here for Greninja. It's going to struggle getting through the Dragapult, sorry. Obviously hitting 170 or even less. Not really a way to one-shot it, so it's going to have to be a slow grind through that. Obviously, the Scoop Up Cyclone in this match would be good. Like I said, I think it is prized. We do see the third Froslass come down as well. So, potentially... Yeah, Manaphy is going to go down this turn. We're going to see Dracloak tick up to 70. And that's from just having the Pokemon in play. It's going to be an absolute monster of a card if a deck can get it working. I think this is a nice way of playing it, honestly. Paired with Greninja, you can just take a lot of damage to the bench without them really able to do much in return. We do see the Unfair Stamp in the deck for the Greninja player, so we could see that come into play at some point. Obviously, you want to get some more Dracloaks into play to protect yourself from that. And again, we're just getting the card out, and then we're going to work on the checkup before that Manaphy falls. So let's have a look here. Card taken. Manaphy is KO'd, and Dracloak goes up to 7. So 2 prizes taken here, and 3 more set up on board for Greninja. This could be a bit of a sweep here, unless we see something special here. I think we are going to have to see the second Dragapult come down just to protect the Dracloak, else it is going to be knocked out going into Greninja's turn. We do also need to get that Manaphy back onto the board. So we need to see stuff like a Super Rod, stuff like a Nest Ball. Else we're going to have a very rough time here. Just having a look at hand. Can't really see much. I think there's an Enhanced Hammer, Ultra Ball. We are going to see the Ultra Ball come down. Iron up what other card to use here. I think potentially could grab a Lumineon. Temple of Sinnoh I think is fine. It is going to be the boss, so wanting to save the Sinnoh to shut off those DTEs later on. Few options here. It is going to be the Dragapult though. Could have gone for a Dracloak, but it just means more damage in play. Could have gone for a Lumineon. Would also be damaged, but it looks like we do have maybe a piece of the combo in hand. So it's going to be a Xatu, Energy, and Manaphy. And the Nest Ball as well, so that is a perfect turn. We are going to get the Manaphy straight back down. Just holding on to that in hand, ready. Obviously, as soon as the Manaphy goes down, you're in a lot of trouble. So I think that makes a lot of sense there. So we can see a knockout into Greninja here. It's just where the damage is going to go. You can't really get a knockout into anything. Potentially could spread it out and then use Alakazam later to fix some math. But it's going to be an interesting one. We'll see an Energy come down to the Dreepy with a EXP share. So it does look like we're not going to see a switch potentially and attack with another Dragapult here. We are going to see 3 damage straight back down onto the Manaphy here, which is, yeah, that's kind of crazy. Between turns, it's going to tick up another 3. So coming in back into the Greninja player's turn, they're going to have to once again. Well, there's no other way to set up the Manaphy, honestly. Okay, 3/3 I like. 90 HP means We can take a knockout into either of those. And just slowly work down those Froslass. So we do see the Greninja come down and Arven hit the field. Greninja getting everything they need here, so potentially could take this one. Obviously a lot of damage already spread out on the side of Dragapult, and we are going to see an unfair stamp Devo combo come into play here. So we're going to see the active knocked out. Obviously the Dragapults are going to jump back to hand. We're also going to see the Dracloak on the bench knocked out as the turn passes. So that's going to be a pretty devastating turn. Just double checking there if EXP share would work, but it has to be damage from an attack. So this is going to get around that, and we're going to see a massive swing for the Greninja player here. Going to go down to 2 prizes. 3 needed on the side of Dragapult, so it's going to be interesting, and it is going to be the unfair stamp. 5 cards for Greninja, 2 for Dragapult here. It's going to be a very close finish. It really is going to come down to what Dragapult gets off the top here. It does mean they're going to get Dragapults back in the hand, so they're only going to need like a rare candy, but yeah, it's going to be... There's only 2 in deck, so it's going to be interesting, and it is going to be 2 cards off the top. Can't quite see what they are. We haven't seen a ton of supporters played, so potentially quite a few outs left in deck, but that's a big deck. There is a lot in there, so yeah, we're going to have to see if they've been able to draw out of it. And Devo play is coming down. Dragapult is knocked out. Dragapults go to hand, so yeah, just make sure they go into hand, and then turn passes, and we're going to see the Dracloak knocked. And Manaphy also going up to 6, so that's going to be knocked out going into Greninja's turn, meaning if they can find it, they could potentially win this game here. Devo play making a lot of sense there. Maybe not something you would expect. Well, it's hard to know what to expect with these decks because, like I say, this is the first handful of games we've had with them. So yeah, that absolutely monstrous play there. And it is just going to be just talking through something here as Dragapult plays out their hand. Just looking through the discards, see it. Maybe looking for a certain card, seeing if it's been used. What is in hand though? We need a way to get a fresh hand. So we do see Lumineon come down. Maybe that was the thought there. Is it? I guess if you haven't got anything, it's your only option, honestly. Now, if you played the Unfair Stamp, you could potentially Arven, Unfair Stamp, and a tool here. Maybe return a Devo play. Although it's not quite as nice now, but you could grab something else out. You could grab the Forest Sealstone out, honestly. Which I think is what we're going to see here. We're going to see Rare Candy for a Sealstone. Just to find all the pieces we need. Obviously you need an Energy and a Dragapult EX. So it's asking a lot from a 3-card hand. So there is a Frogadier underneath anyway. So any kind of Devo shenanigans are going to be a little more difficult to pull off here. And it is going to be Arven for Rare Candy Sealstone. Sealstone coming down, I'm guessing, onto the Lumineon. Probably... Oh, so we do have energy in hand, so that's pretty good going. We are going to see Forest Sealstone come down. Again, not knowing what kind of list these things run. I don't know if Greninja has a Lost Vacuum. I think we did see at the start it did run 1 vacuum, so it's probably worth using now. Could mean your IO node, but get a card that potentially could get you out of the game or get you out of a tough situation, and then go from there. I think potentially such a big hand on the Greninja side, so you really do have to go for it here. And then it's just going to come down to what Greninja gets. I mean, if they have it in hand, they have it in hand. They're going to need a DTE here. Just looking at the cards, I don't see it in hand, so it might not be the end of the game here, but it's going to be close. Obviously Dragapult is going to get 200, take a knockout on Froslass, so prizes are going to be even, and then it's going to be down to Greninja. Obviously Manaphy is going to be knocked out in the passing turn, so a boss would work, a DTE would work. They've got a few outs, and we are just going to see a card grabbed off Forest Sealstone. It's going to be another rare candy just to protect the Dragapult. I think they have gone down to an empty hand here, and it is going to be a prize. So they had 1 card, so we've got 2 cards in hand now. And it is going to be some damage onto the Lumineon as well. Not quite as much now. We're going to see Rotom come down. Potentially a Forest Sealstone could be nice here. is going to be a Vessel. Removing an Iono here, so potentially just thinning the deck. There's quite a lot of cards left in deck is the only thing. There's only 2 DTEs. I'm not sure how many bosses in the list. We are going to see a Buddy Poffin come down. Just thin every card out, maximize your chances. We're going to see Cleffa hit the board. It doesn't really matter. It's all down to this turn. If they can win on this turn, or if they can take a knockout on this turn, they'll win. If not, it is going to be a win for the side of Dragapult. Very close match. I think this is quite an interesting one. Greninja, a lot of ways to deal with the Dracloaks, the Xatus, the Manaphies. And obviously only having the one super odd means you are susceptible to that. It's not rapid. I was going to say the rapid strike attack then, but it's not that. Torrential something, I think it's called. It's just, yeah, very similar. It's 120, 120. Very powerful attack. And once that Manaphy goes down, it's a lot more dangerous. Like I said, looking for a few cards here. DTE, which I'm not sure how many are in the deck still. If we've got rid of any bosses or DTEs. So yeah, I'm not sure how many outs. I think it's two or three cards that are outs of what looks like maybe 20 odd cards. So this is going to be interesting. It's going to come down to this. Hopefully, not sure what support we're going to see. If it's an Iono and we just see one, it's not quite as nice. And it is an Iono, so it's going to be one card to decide this game. Greninja flips over. Is that the card? Oh, they've Iono. So boss was never run out. It was going to have to be the DT, of which there's only 2. And there might only be 1 in deck left. I'm not sure how many are left. And it is going to be a pass over, or it's going to be an attack, sorry, and then a card grabbed, and it's going to be Dragapult swinging in. The A-Spec was once again prized. Hopefully in one of these games we will get to see it. That's all I've got for this episode, though. If you want to see more matches, more Pokemon content, make sure you leave a comment. Let me know what you want to see next. Make sure you subscribed, leave a like, and I will catch you in the next one.